They say love is easy when it's right, but anyone who's actually been in it knows it's more of a beautiful, chaotic work in progress. Welcome to Totally in Love, the podcast where we skip the fairy tales and dive into the real, messy, and wonderful side of human connection.
All right, we're back for another episode of Totally in Love podcast. I'm your girl Nicole, the house hostess with the mostest, one half of Totally in Love.
And I'm Anja.
And we have a guest back. Verrick is back again. Dr. Taylor is back.
Doctor,
yes, y'all. We are in Beham. In case you didn't know, you see this gorgeous backdrop?
Yes, I love
It's the
Skyline.
Magic City. Tell us about this. Welcome us to the Magic City.
Yeah, welcome to Magic City, y'all. This is Birmingham, also known as the Iron City. We like to say around here politically, we are probably what Atlanta. We were offered everything Atlanta has first, and I guess the powers that be decided, we may not be ready for all that growth. So y'all can have us to thank that for, But yeah, we late to the game. A lot of people over here travel everywhere else. But this is a cool little city. Like this is it's kind of quaint. It's got a lot of little nightlife is building. But if you want to come over here and get some good food, good wings, good a lot of everything, some good little mild little nightlife or whatnot, this is a good place. Also a cool place to raise a family too.
Here, thank you for your hospitality.
Such that it has been, right?
Yes.
Prophetically,
we've
the
been
hospital.
having so many good conversations with people in the city. One of them was a good friend of mine, actually lives here.
Yeah.
We had dinner with her last night, and she was just telling me about, unfortunately, crime rate in the inner city.
Yeah.
And with the youth. So we've had conversations about that. But take us back to your origins of maybe your growing up. Did that influence you?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, so what I read, assuming that's not propaganda, what I've read is that, recently, I think Birmingham is now at an all-time low for homicides in a year, which that says a lot. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so
Do you think it has to do with that police chief?
I knew that was coming. Shout out to the new administration, or just like with the presidency, maybe all the work that was done prior to him, and he was there to kind of come in and finish it off. Who knows? But you know what? They're doing something right. All right, shout out Randall Wolfen and all them, man.
I think he's putting y'all on the map though, because he's like social media type chief, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the ladies are putting them on the map. I think.
But I will say, to your credit, like you said, it might be propaganda, but it might be. Just
but there's
like
probably
you said,
something to it though.
Because the person that I spoke to, has a significant other that works for the workforce,
right?
The police force. So just understanding all the things that go on in the background, right? Were you exposed to that as a young person?
Yeah. So growing up, which is probably why we got the beef up, which is one reason we got the beef up in police years ago. I know I grew up in the 90s, telling my age. Yeah, grew up in the 80s and 90s, but mainly, that was the crack epidemic, so the emergence of hip hop as a worldwide thing or whatnot, and so it was a lot of violence, to say the least. Gang culture had really migrated from the west and the north over here and caught on big. So violence really became kind of like a part of life for everybody, even those that were not directly involved in it or anything like that. From the getting called the wrong colors to the let me take your shoes or your starter jackets and all that type of stuff, or let me start taking your starter jackets and shoes and all that kind of stuff. Right. So, it was a situation growing up for a lot of people where, for the most part, you had to know how to handle yourself. You had to know how to either stay out of the way or learn how to crack real hard, roast somebody real well, or you had to know how to throw them hands. So that pretty much, and it even escalated the gunplay a little bit later on. So yeah, that was pretty common in Birmingham. You can talk to anybody in Birmingham, they'll probably echo what I'm saying.
Okay.
Wow. So, okay. We have interviewed you, 2 times?
Yeah,
before?
I think it's 2 times.
So this is 3 times the charm.
Yeah.
And we talked about men and mental health. Then our second time we talked about relationships, right?
More or less.
Okay. We kind of dipped our toe in it little pinky toe into relationships, but we want to unpack some things, right?
Yeah, we want to blossom it. So my thing about it is I want to know how how Beham are you?
What is that?
How I want
Yeah,
to know
right,
how Beham
right.
are you?
Before I answer, you must elaborate.
What I mean is this. So where you're from, of course, you're born and raised here and you stayed here. Have
Yeah,
you lived anywhere else?
yeah. I'm Birmingham.
Okay, you totally Birmingham.
Birmingham
So
bred.
that means that you were carrying some of the old Birmingham into the new.
Yeah,
What are
that's
some of the
fair.
old Birmingham values that you now instill and pass forward? That's what I'm asking. How Beham are you?
Gotcha. Okay.
So we tiptoeing into relationships.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I definitely, I could be cliche and say the hard work, the hard working ethic or what have you, because that's there. But there's a certain cool toughness about everybody in Birmingham. Everybody in Birmingham is kind of like laid back, for the most part. Everybody here, at least people I know, have a good sense of worldliness or have touched a lot of different places and regions, but tend to kind of stay here. so
Okay.
so Birmingham is a little melting pot of a lot of different places on the low. It's not one where you're gonna kind of look on the map and be like, oh, that's where I'm going. But I tell you how crazy that is. You listen to a lot of rap music, especially in the South. They shout out Birmingham. Maybe not for the greatest reasons, but you'll underground people, you know what I'm talking about. They shout out Birmingham for that type of stuff, for the underground economy stuff that has happened or whatnot.
Okay.
A lot, we famous for a lot of different things. We've been close to the hub of Anniston and all that, so people know. Some people know about Birmingham.
Okay.
It's a cool little place. It's a cool little place to be.
He mentioned the work ethic, right?
Yeah.
And we've been having conversation upon conversation about working. Like here, people work.
Yeah, you
And
got
they
to.
work hard.
Yeah.
We've had conversations just like we went out to the plum bar.
Yeah.
Shout out to the plum bar. Had conversations with the ladies there, and they were like, "Well, we don't get out. We just kind of work. We go from job to job." And this seems like it's a common theme. But how does that play out in the marriages, in the relationships? That's my conversation that I want to have.
Yeah. Maybe because it's maybe one of the smaller metropolitans. Something like hunting a little over 1 million people. You can kind of see probably the everyday struggle they have, even in big cities, that just get overshadowed by entertainment and other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people here want to have things. They want to be able to go places. They want to be able to provide their children with good lives and whatnot, and that takes money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We have why do we work? I'm always go back to maybe that's just what we saw growing up. Maybe
Yep.
probably a lot of that was instilled from our parents. That I think, especially my generation, Gen X, I think we saw our parents work their tails off. Maybe they had the education, maybe they did it, but maybe they got their work ethic from people who were sharecroppers and things like that,
Right.
Yeah.
and passed that along to us. Like I see guys these days now still saying, "Man, yeah, I got so many years on this job. I've been with this job."
Yeah.
Said many decades or
That is
whatnot,
the Gen X baby
Very well,
boomer
like,
and,
yep,
and I'm about to retire or whatever,
Yeah.
So it's
that Rolex.
but that had to be passed down from our parents who really didn't have so much.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to circle back to the question. 'cause I
Okay,
think it's
I'm sorry.
poignant. No, because you needed to provide the background and the context. But being said, someone that's forward thinking, someone that's emotional intelligent, someone that works in that profession, someone that has worked with couples.
Yeah.
How
How does that
does
affect it?
I'm going to say it this way? Sometimes the unbalanced perspective of it's like a survival, hustling, gotta survive, keeping your head above water, all of that good
Gotcha.
times mentality.
I like the way you
How
framed
is that played out in unhealthy or healthy relationships?
Yeah, I love the way you framed it. That's really perfect. So obviously, a lot of people like to say work-life balance. I'm not even sure that is such a thing. Maybe it's work-life blending, or if anything else, or just depends on how you organize everything. But to your point, there is what's basically being said is, naturally, if I work, if there's 100 spaces in my life and 70% of them are being filled up by work, then obviously some aspects of my life that are important are going lacking. And I believe that happens a whole lot in marriages, or just even relationship development prior to marriage. If I'm working a lot, uh, then the time we spend is super valuable. And often that becomes, let's say if you're dating, even though dating is a Christian concept, but I ain't gonna go with that. But dating, let's go with dating. Dating in itself, if both of us work a whole lot, the time that we get together, we're gonna maximize it and live it up to the fullest and whatnot. And prior to going into marriage, if we're not aware of what's really happening, we will think that that's what we're gonna get in marriage. That we just gonna have person A and person B going to work all this time. They doing this, balancing the kids, and then when we get together, party, woohoo!
Right.
So naturally, of course, I want to get married. We ain't talking a whole lot, and when we talk, we can't wait to talk because we don't talk a whole lot, or we've already established that we're texting or whatnot. So I think maybe just in short, if we talk about from a premarital standpoint, you, couples have to be very cognizant of what's actually happening and what's not happening before they get into even saying, I want to get married, because marriage ain't going to look that way.
Right.
You talk about marriage, you got a couple that's already married and with a family. Well, yeah, we out here trying to get it or whatnot, then the family life is going to suffer. Kids don't have that supervision like they need, maybe the attention academically they need, or even just socially. I don't get that. I don't see my parents a whole lot. And when I do see them, it's food time. It's nowadays they don't do schoolwork over here, but homework so much. But all the stuff in between.
Yeah.
Parents don't get a chance to establish routines in the home that are necessary to kind of build the culture of the home.
Yeah, and then you also have the issue of so much social media or just electronics, period.
Yeah.
Just recently saw like a family together, and they were at the gym trying to work out together, or at least the father was.
Oh, cool.
And he was like, the mother and the daughter were on their phones, and he was like, "Dude, this is a vacation. Get off your phones."
Yeah.
So that just is a reflection because
cool.
it didn't start on vacation. It started at home.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Especially if I work, depending on a lot of our jobs, they depend on communication through email, in some cases text. Well, heck yeah, if I'm on vacation and I'm answering emails, I'm out of balance. That's supposed to be our time.
Yeah.
All that time we working to get this money and spend it and enjoy it, can't even enjoy it properly.
Being intentional about the hour time. I see you have the ring.
Yeah.
Ladies with the ring. So speaking of you, let's talk about you. Like, was that ever like a factor for you? Like in this current situation or the past situation? Talk to us about that.
You mean like with respect
where you're
to
working and and it haven't made most of the time that needs to be made.
Yeah. So even now, that's something that my wife and I negotiate quite a bit about, because we both work. We work we work we work 8 to maybe we work some hours, and every now and then we might work on a Saturday morning or what have you. But we talk a lot about, hey, got to make sure you cut off at a certain time so we can have time for ourselves and whatnot. We're cognizant of that. She's a lot more forgiving of time being lost than I am.
Okay.
In the sense that she's like, well, hey, I had something to do, had some extra appointments to do or whatnot, but I'm home now. Yeah, you're right. We'll get it next time. And I'm more like, yeah, I got you, but that can't happen. We got to be intentional. We got to maintain our schedule. So yeah, it's definitely big because I'll say personally, we have goals, financial goals, and we have social goals, things that we want to do. And so sometimes it takes those conversations to remind each other that, yeah, we're working and we're sacrificing on this end right now, but it's for a purpose.
Yeah.
So, and when we get on these places, we often have to regulate ourselves and say, hey, listen, no phones. She'll tell me all the time, can you put your phone up? And I'm like, she'll ask me and I'll say, you know what, you're right. Sometimes I say the same thing. Hey, get off your phone, man. We're vacationing right now.
I love that.
And so that's been we just it's a big press to be present and stay in the moment.
Especially, I mean, nowadays, like Andre was alluding to the whole social media thing. There's so many things vying for your time and your attention, and just being present. It's a press.
You know what's so interesting? We had just had our interview with Curtis, as you know.
Let me get you in the camera a little bit more. Come on, snuggle up a little bit more.
Oh, I didn't realize I was that far.
Yeah.
Why? Okay. We just had our interview with Curtis, and we had asked him also about the work thing here, and the same thing that you're saying now, like you have a desire to achieve certain things or be in certain state, like, so I guess it's grinding for a season. And I was thinking about it. I come from a place where I guess that makes sense, but it's so different in California because not only are you working to have fun, and now it's different because there are people who come to California to work, and there are people who are from California.
Right.
If you're from California, you ain't gonna work all that hard. Like you're gonna go outside and you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna play.
Yeah. Shout out to California, man. That's what I'm talking about.
But it makes I feel like I'm grateful for that aspect because but you guys here, you guys have like built in infrastructure of the importance of family and the importance of community.
Yeah.
In the sense like okay, family means literally we were here for Easter, everything was shut down. I've never experienced that before.
Wow.
I think that that is so special because that's obviously saying something about the importance of tradition.
Yeah.
You know, you're spending it with your family, you're doing it with ever. So I think that even within that, like the balance of the desire for goals, but also still enjoying the journey along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. You said a lot there.
Yeah,
that
she
was
did.
well said. Yeah. So I'm still processing that right now. Yeah. But no, and again, I like the fact I like this discussion about different geographical locations and regions and cultures because I think maybe a lot of this is it's a southern thing too.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I said Alabama are you? Or not bad. Yeah,
Yeah, you
Alabama are
did.
you?
You said
Alabama are you?
People.
that was
When a person says
A
Bama,
low shot. That was a low shot. How
be
B-Ham
aware.
are you?
Be aware.
How
was a low
B-Ham
Be
are you?
aware. I'm on game.
Wait,
This is
she cleaned
Birmingham.
it up though.
This is
How
Birmingham.
B-Ham are
This
you?
ain't Bama.
B-Ham.
Let me get that straight.
B-Ham. How B-Ham are you?
Yeah, it's interesting because if you talk to people from Birmingham, they're like, no, this ain't Bama. This ain't Alabama. This is Birmingham. I'm from Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, where we are?
I'm telling you.
Correction.
I'm telling you. That's all good. That's all right. You don't know.
I feel like we should shut up and let you tell your love story because
I
people
wanna
want to know. Inquiring minds want to know how this unfolded.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I guess the best way I can put it, because my wife and I have our different versions of or different experiences of how we got to where we are. But one thing we agree on is that at one point in time, we didn't see our relationship the same way. Now that may sound however it sounds, but just frankly, we didn't see our relationship the same way.
What does that mean, sir?
Oh, here we go. Inquiring minds want to know for real. Well, so at one point when we got together, when we were dating, um, there was an impasse where there was a single moment where my wife pretty much and my wife, well, my friend, she at the time, she said, "Hey, you're my boyfriend." Now, to me, because I had that experience before. My experiences said that that's for me to announce or for me to say or for me to take the lead on what we're doing or whatnot.
Okay.
But because that had happened to me before, it wasn't uncommon for a woman to pretty much be forward and ask, "Hey, so what we doing?" In so many words, I sort of passively said, "Oh, that's cute. That's cute," and I left it be. I let it be there. So I know y'all looking to be like, y'all did that.
We're like, wait a minute.
They really like me. I promise they do.
We on her side. I'm on her side. Okay.
Right. But and so what came about though, we were still involved, and we stayed in touch, and every now and then we did some, we went out and things like that. And at one point, I can remember kind of when it was. I think it was like a September or something like that. I'm not. It was in the fall, and I just remember thinking that in a conversation on the phone with her, and I think I was driving back from somewhere, and it just dawned on me. You know what? She is consistent. She is still with me, and she's still the same person. You know what? Maybe let me give some thought to this boyfriend thing. And so I talked to her a little bit about it, and then I just said, about that thing we talked about. Let's really do something with this. What's funny is, and this is gonna sound real unsexy. She came up with an idea at one point, like, "Hey, let's go to therapy together," and I was like, "Okay, no problem. Whatever. This ought to be fun. I'll get to say some stuff that probably you're not listening to, woo, 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 and all that." Well, when we get to therapy after the first session, the therapist breaks down our dynamics for both of us on the wall. She drew lines and charts about how we communicate and how we connect and what it looks like and actually put it on. You might as well say, as they say, put it on the chalkboard, put it on paper for us. And I was leaving like I left feeling heard. I was like, yes, that's exactly what I've been saying. She was like, oh my god, and she was bawling. This was like she was distraught.
Was she?
Her little world was shattered because she was like, well, all this time I thought we were this.
Wow.
And I said, well, I never told you we were that, and I always told you, blah blah blah. We only saw each other, I broke some things down for her. And I said, well, look, I think all that matters is that we're here now. She was like, yeah, but the way I saw this coming about, I just don't like it. I said, I get it, man. It's just like
wait. What was that?
she did not like which I can understand. She did not where we are, her realization of it did not fit her narrative that she had or the storyline that went with it. So when you're telling, just like you asked me, how do we get together? Oh, I know this sounds so whatever, but I'm just being genuine. So, but anyway, we got on the same page after some hard sessions in therapy because we were finally talking on the same page. But I think really what's more important is we both were finally being heard. See, we always talking.
Yeah.
But do we walk away from the conversation knowing that you said what you said versus what my filter said you said? And so that's kind of what we had to work through. Once we got through that and kind of tearing down some expectations both of us had based on the relationships that we were in mentally, but not actually, which took a few months, we were like, all right, we're at a point. We either going to do this or we're not going to do this.
That's mature.
And, I just told her, you know what, you got to give me a minute because I'm still processing a few things. And if my timeline doesn't match up with yours, I give you full permission to walk away. In fact, you should walk away. And I'm gonna stay here because this is where I want to be. I just gotta I gotta wrap my mind around some stuff. Some kind of way she was there, and I proposed.
How long did that take her?
It's not that it took that. It's just I took that. I walked. That was my walk.
How long did that take?
I'd probably say within.
How long did that take?
And y'all, I didn't have commitment issues.
You did or did not?
I didn't. I
You just wanted clarity. Huh?
I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision because no disrespect to my prior relationship or whatnot, but when I look back at it, I made that decision because I was ready to be married. I was ready to be married because I wanted to be married.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of the stuff that probably was not going to be good on my part or her part for being married, I kind of turned a deaf ear to and a blind eye to because I wanted what I wanted.
Right.
And when I got in there, oh, well, here we go.
That's so healthy.
Yeah. So, but and we both had talked about this. So with that being said, I wanted to make sure this was a decision I was making and not one being made for me.
Right.
Not only that, I wanted to make sure when I was making the decision, I was getting as much of it out of the whole experience as I wanted. Her thing was we ought to just go to the courthouse and it's over with. And I was like, well, hold on now, no. I want to kind of give some pageantry to this, some celebration to this or something.
Tune in next time to hear Verrick's love story.